Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me tonight, 2 nights in a row, 2 night pods in a row. It's my good friend, Alex Speers. Alex, what's up?
What's up, Dunkers?
We're back for another night pod on Tuesday night. Some of this is due to travel for me. Some of this is due to Alex's schedule. So here we are. And tonight we'll talk more about the rookies. I want to get Alex's thoughts on the first preseason game. But I thought we could also talk about the GM survey that dropped on NBA.com. John Schumann wrote this article, put it all together. And I think it is quite interesting in a lot of ways. And a lot of it is that the Thunder are a huge part of it. The first one, I feel like maybe this is one that maybe even should be at the bottom, but it's at the very top, is which team will win the NBA Finals. Most people are picking the Celtics. And then the number 2 team is the Oklahoma City Thunder at 13%. And then you have the Dallas Mavericks at 3%, and then on down. Thoughts on the Thunder getting the second most, which is not a lot, but at least some votes to actually win this whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's. What would you put their actual percentage at? I feel like 20% is probably like. That's me being excited. That's an excited number for me. More conservatively, I think 13% is actually like around where it might be. Just because I do think it's a little wide open.
Yeah,
and I do think it's really hard to win. So if that were their actual chance this year, I'd feel pretty good. Because I remember Daryl Morey saying something once. He was like, in any given year, if it's like an average year, you have like maybe a 10% chance to win if you're a good team. And so like you're trying. I think
he was saying 5%.
Yeah, he might have said,
right.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's 5%.
That might have been during like the Warriors, the KD Warriors, that he was saying that.
Yeah, maybe so.
But yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Why isn't John Schumann take over for Woj? If he knows all these GMs, he's getting them all to respond to a survey.
Come on, Shu.
Wow.
Could do this.
Wow.
Could do this. Instead, Shams had to leave us. We are his colleagues, and he left us.
Yeah, you need a new insider.
Maybe Al Baby Cakes. NBA Insider.
I'm on my phone a lot. Check.
Next one. The who wins the Western Conference? The Thunder. 80% of GMs believe the Thunder will be first in the Western Conference. 80%. Which they were there last year. They're clearly better than they were last year. So it makes sense, but it's just it was wild seeing that percentage on my screen this morning.
More annoying though, if you add up the percentages, because they only do the top 4 seeds.
Yeah,
it only adds up to 93%, which means 7% of GMs do not think they'll have home court advantage. Is that what I am being led to believe?
I guess so.
Wow.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's very funny that Minnesota is number 2. Easily, but no one picked them to win it. Whereas 3 GMs did pick Denver, Dallas, or Phoenix to be
Phoenix. Who's voting for Phoenix? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I was going to ask you if we could do any mulligans on our over-unders, because it's still not the start of the season. There's still some things, and I have been like, I've been thinking about Phoenix. Yeah. I just feel like I need to go over with either Phoenix or Houston. And I haven't decided which one, but I think I would like a mulligan on at least one of those.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but also, I don't know. I would stick with Phoenix. I mean, everything looks good now, but like, what if KD gets hurt, or like what we talked about with Nurk gets hurt?
Yeah, you got the plum dog.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, Thunder are like heavily favored to be number 1 in the Western Conference. Next one, Thunder again, who will win the Kia MVP. I love that it says Kia MVP. Shea, 40% of the voters believe that Shea will win the MVP. 30% to Luka, 7 to Embiid, 7 to the Joker, 7 to Jason Tatum. And then Giannis, Jaylen Brown, and Anthony Edwards also got votes. But Shea is the winner of the GM survey.
Yeah, there's some answers here, and this is the first one, where you just wonder if there's a certain group of GMs who just do not like Luka for whatever reason. Because I would have expect these to be flipped, and maybe even Luka to be like around 50%.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the odds-on favorite, right? In the betting markets.
Yeah, he is.
So that, and another question we're going to come to. Actually, the very next question, I was very surprised where Luka ended up. Just makes me wonder why do people? What are people? What is behind these answers?
Yeah, I mean, Luka beat Shea in the playoffs. Yeah,
and
he's
got like, I mean, we all think that Shea is going to be amazing this season, but like Luka feels like such a lock for a ridiculous line. Like you could see Shea taking a step back statistically and still having a great season, and the team still being, winning 60 games or something like that.
Yeah.
With Luka, it's like, it's more of a question like, is he going to average a triple-double? Like, is he going to do 30, 10, and 10?
Yeah. It's on the table. We also kind of did this thing with Shea last year, though. Where we thought that Shea would take a step back, like statistically.
Yeah, but this time, Andrew,
it's like we had like great points for it too, because it was like, well, JW year 2, you got Chet coming in,
Giddey getting to the line so much.
You got to make room for all these Josh Giddey free throws.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I mean, I kind of expect Shea to be what he was last year, if not better. So I don't know.
I don't disagree. Hard to do.
I don't disagree with the GMs. If you're starting a franchise today and you could sign any player in the NBA, who would it be? 77% said Victor Wembanyama. And then the exact same number of people said Jokic as Shea. So that's interesting. Last year it was Nikola Jokic with 33% of the votes.
I thought this was the most interesting answer of all of them. Because, like, first of all, why wouldn't you take Wemby? Like, what? I would take Wemby. Yeah, and I love Shea, and I'm a Thunder fan. Yeah, but I it's nice that other people are considering Shea. But the fact that Shea is at 10% and Luka's at 3%, that probably means that one GM picked Luka.
Yeah, I think that's what that means.
That's wild. That's wild to me.
Yeah, it is wild.
He's younger than Shea.
Yeah,
like he's proven more in the playoffs. He's been to 2 conference finals and a finals. Why is he only getting 1 vote?
I don't know.
What do they know? Why do they hate him so much? Why would they not want to sign him?
Yeah. I mean, he's not really a two-way player, which I think is part of it.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
But I mean, again, another thing he's proven, like the Mavs were an awesome defensive unit after the break last year,
and then went to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I get it. I wonder if the Wemby thing is that there's not a historical precedent for a guy that is his size to have a long career,
Yeah, sure. But also those guys in the past who were even close to that size, they played so differently. Like they were all down low bigs banging around.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
I mean, he can do anything. Like he can be a perimeter player. He can play down low. And I don't know. I get it. And it wouldn't surprise me because he is so big, like that eventually something happens. But it would be hard for me to choose anyone other than Wemby right now.
Yeah, it would feel a little silly. I also wonder why there's no love for Ant Edwards here.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah,
because he's really young and is clearly going to be like one of the faces of the NBA.
You got to wonder if Shea's personality, or at least the perception of his personality, perception of how he is to be around, is helping him here. Because what other reason could it be? Because I would say, like, for most NBA fans, they would at least be on like equal footing in terms of like Ant Edwards, Shea, and Luka. Like, who are you going to take? If you had just asked NBA fans, I don't think Shea would be number one. I think it would be probably split, but I bet more people would choose both Ant and Luka over Shea, I would guess.
Yeah, that's probably fair. So I don't know. I think some of it could be leadership stuff too, because
yeah, that's what I mean. Just like he seems like a great person to have around.
Yeah,
and that has to factor in.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I do think that he defensively is better than Ant. And Ant has his moments, but there are other like spacey moments for him. I think that Shea, and this is what will be really interesting with this particular Thunder team, is I think that he is like one of the best off-ball defenders in the NBA, and that he is going to help generate so many steals because you have guys like Dort and Caruso and Case and Wallace locking down the perimeter. Like, the free safety that he's going to be able to play during the season is going to be unreal. Like, this team is like, they may set a record for the number of steals that they get this season. And Shea is a big part of that. And so, like, defensively, I think he brings more to the table than those guys do. And then just like, and then leadership wise, you can just tell just from being around him for just a little bit how much he genuinely cares about winning and how much he genuinely cares about his teammates, and not that he elevates himself above them at all, which you don't see him doing that. He's like one of the guys for sure, which is also like not the case with all superstars either. Is like the fact that he can be one of the guys is certainly a thing that stands out as well amongst these stars, because there are, I won't name names, but there are players across the NBA that is not the case. That there's definitely like a separation line between the star and the other players on the team, and that just doesn't seem to exist. Listen, V. Krejci had a great night, and he is feeling himself, is what I heard.
You should. Hey, if you haven't seen it yet, go look at the pass that V. Krejci threw tonight. The full court bounce pass is beautiful. Genuinely.
It was, to my boy Kobe Buffkin, nonetheless.
Yeah,
and then Buffkin caught the ball and was in his head. You could tell he was in his head shooting that layup because of the way he shot it. He shot the most fundamental layup you'll ever see. And he
couldn't blow it.
And he was like, I can't screw this up. I have to get this. Okay. There's like a string tied from my elbow to my knee. And here we're going up for the layup. It was, and then the look that he gave Veet after was so funny. It is definitely worth your time to go check out this Veet.
Well, it's one of those passes where like you're getting on the highlight regardless of whether you make the layup or not.
Yeah.
So you better.
Yeah. Yeah. If he misses that, it's probably shown more if he misses it, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting question as well. Which player forces opposing coaches to make the most adjustments? No Thunder player here.
Interesting.
Yeah, no Thunder player here.
Like Luka
number one,
gets acknowledged here, so that they acknowledge that we hate playing this guy, but we also aren't like rushing to get him on our team if given the opportunity.
The guy's good, and we got to adjust to him. But do we want him? No. It's kind of how it is.
It's just funny because like Shea doesn't appear on this. Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Steph Curry still number 2 on this list, and not far from Luka. Then Jokic. Giannis. Is this the first Giannis mention on this? Yeah. Oh, I guess he was other receiving votes for MVP. Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Steph Curry was number 1 last year at 40%. So Luka is up there. Luka's he's good. He's really good. There is something weird going on though around the league about Luka.
He's got a stink on him for some
There's a little
reason.
stink on him. He does.
I mean, I understand it just from the. I hate watching Luka. Like I can't stand watching him. But that should have no. Like if he was on my team, I would love him, and I'd be very excited. But yeah, I can't stand watching him. But I don't feel like that should factor into some of these questions. So they must know something, Andrew. He's got to stink.
They gotta know something.
Stink.
Got that stink. Next question: which player is most likely to have a breakout season in 24-25? J-Dub is number 1 on this list, and it's a little. I mean, obviously, it's great to be the number 1 person on this list, but he's at 13%, with three other guys at 10%, with Evan Mobley, John Morant, and Victor Wembanyama. John Morant, like, can we even call this a breakout season? Come on, that's a
comeback. That's a comeback.
Yeah. Season. That's not a breakout season. What is he breaking out of? Being an idiot? Like, what's going on here? Like,
also, I think weird. That Evan Mobley one is really interesting too, because like, what has changed? Like, he's still having to play with a traditional center for at least half of his minutes.
I know.
Like, what is going to suddenly change for him offensively?
New coach.
That's what it would have to be.
New coach.
Yes. Is he going to start shooting threes? I haven't been paying attention to them in the preseason.
He had a game tonight.
I'll go check. I'll go see if he shot any threes.
He was putting up some numbies tonight. But
I don't get that one. Okay, let's see. Tonight he took 2 threes, missed them both. Like I don't. What's going to happen? Unlock this.
I'm not tracking there with the Evan Mobley one either.
Cade, good Lord! I mean, it's year 5.
Hey, listen, let's break out. Let's break out of this terrible 4 years.
Is it year 5 for Cade? No, this is year 4.
No, it's year 4. It's year 4. He's the Giddy draft.
Yeah. He was 1 for 6 tonight. For Pistons fans' sake, he better break out this year.
Yeah, they need him to break out because things still aren't looking super great in Detroit. So,
see, I think like for a breakout, I think J-Dub's a good breakout candidate because a part of this is like trying to predict who's going to be a first-time All-Star.
Yeah.
And then the other way you can go with it is a guy who just like didn't play a lot last year. Like I think I'm looking at a guy in the honorable mentions, Amen Thompson. Like that would make sense to me as a breakout guy. Keegan
Murray's on this list. Andrew Nembhard's on this list.
Yeah,
like there's just some weird candidates on here. LaMelo Ball, like another one that's similar to like the John Morant answer. What's like
Derek Lively? I get because I think Lively, he's going to be a starter by the end of the year.
Lively, I like. Yeah,
Trey Murphy makes sense, although he's hurt again. Cam Thomas, sure. I bet we're going to be talking about him.
He's breaking out. He's going to break out. Who's breaking out? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Who's the best point guard? We think that Luka is the best point guard, but we don't want him. Wouldn't want him on our team, but we acknowledge best point guard. Shea's number 2 at 30%, Steph at 23%, Jalen Brunson at 10%. Last year, Steph Curry was far and away thought of as the best point guard at 63%. Wow, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, I wish they did this more as like who's the best primary initiator.
Yeah, this is where it gets muddy because some people gave Shea votes for shooting guard.
Yeah,
for best shooting guard.
I think Anthony Edwards should be in the conversation with like Luka and Shea. I think they should be compared to one another.
Yeah,
because they're the primary initiators for the team.
Yeah,
like who cares what a shooting guard is? What even is that?
Yeah, what is that today? I don't know.
Who like no one on that list is a shooting guard to me. Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, Shea, Steph Curry, Luka. I mean, I know Devin Booker is like kind of the quintessential shooting guard if he actually played, like kind of like how he played at the Olympics.
Yeah, he didn't play like that though.
He's better.
It's like their primary
shooting guard is like a lower thing.
It's like Michael Redd, you know.
Yeah, Michael Redd. He was a shooting guard.
Yeah, Ray Allen. Ray Allen was
definitely a shooting guard.
Yeah. There's really not shooting guards. I mean, like modern shooting guards. Isaiah Joe, shooting guard.
Yeah, he's shooting guard. There you go.
Yeah, should be Isaiah Joe. Okay, best small forward. Thunder don't have one really.
So Luka got votes for point guard, shooting guard, and small forward, which I'm assuming are not the same GMs. So he should be allowed to add up all of his.
I agree.
percentages.
I agree. I think the same thing for Shea.
Yeah,
I think you should be able to add up. Yeah, this is wild. Best power forward, Giannis with 77% of the votes. KD at 7%. Also receiving votes, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green. Draymond Green's getting. Domantas Sabonis doesn't even play power forward. Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I don't think there are power forwards anymore either. This is another position that doesn't exist anymore.
It's just guard, wing, and big. You know.
Yeah. It should be Al Jefferson.
Al Jefferson. Zach Randolph.
Yeah,
power
Zach
forward.
Randolph was a power forward.
Yeah, definitely power forward. Best center, Jokic, far and away above Embiid.
Yeah.
How do Philly fans feel about that one? 87% to 10%.
I mean, it's accurate.
Just more of the same. And then Victor Wembanyama with 3%.
It's one of those things. Remember when the Hoop Collective had that big argument about the MVP voting because Wendy thought the percentage should be closer, even if he still thought Jokic should be MVP. Yeah. It's like, well, you have to choose one or the other, and like most people are going to choose Jokic.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that he's 77% better than him or something. You know,
I think it does. I'm with Wendy on this. Yeah, I'm with.
Brian then it also means that Joel Embiid is 3 times better than Victor Wembanyama.
Might be right now. Might be.
Although I just changed the math. Now I'm doing times. Okay, next one.
The highest percentage of total votes on position questions. Nikola Jokic 17%, Giannis at 15%, Luka at 12%, Shea and Tatum were tied at 10%. So pretty interesting. Moving on to the off-season moves section of the GM survey. Thanks again to John Schumann for putting this together. Which team made the best overall moves this offseason? The Oklahoma City Thunder, number 1 with 37% of the votes. Philly, second at 33%. The Knicks at 20%. And then the Nets. Shouts to the Nets. They did make some good moves, but it's just funny to see them on this list. Orlando Magic and Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings got a vote. What in the world? But the Thunder are number 1 on this list.
Yeah, most important here is that last year Boston was one of the winners. So you can be a winner of the offseason and still have a good season. Sometimes it does feel like a little bit of a curse.
Yeah.
But you can succeed.
In fact, they had the greatest season of anybody.
They did.
So
they won the championship.
And they won the regular season. They did everything. Dominated. Which one player acquisition will make the biggest impact? Number 1, Paul George at 60%. Mikal Bridges and Towns are actually tied at 13%. Alex Caruso received some votes at 7%. And then others receiving votes, DeMar DeRozan and Isaiah Hartenstein.
Man, it never used to bother me when he wasn't on my team, but now when I hear Steen, it drives me
Steen
crazy.
Is bad. So it is Stein, not Stein. I've been saying it wrong for a little bit.
So it's just a straight Stein. That's great.
It's just a straight Hartenstein.
It's so funny because if that would be your first guess, if you were just looking at that name, most people would guess Hartenstein.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we have made it so much more difficult on ourselves.
Yep.
The fact that Steen gained so much traction over these last couple of years, and I hear it all the time. On podcasts all the time.
Yeah, it's very bad. It's Stein. I mean, I spoke to him, and when he did the Down to Dunk intro, he said, "This is Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk." So it's documented. Anyways, I agree. Paul George is like the best player that moved teams, along with Mikal Bridges and Karl Towns. Yeah,
I think it's Dennis Schroeder, because I think his name.
Yeah.
Because we kind of learned that, it is actually the more fancy way to say it is probably
Schroeder. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've now applied that to every German player.
Yeah. Also Alex Abrinish.
Yeah, man. Do you ever still hear people on podcasts saying like Mo Wagner, Franz Wagner?
And the shows I listen to, I do not get any Wagners.
I mean, I still hear that every once in a while. I'm like, man, it's been a few years. I know that it's like unnatural if you grow up in America and you look at it, but like we've heard it a lot now.
It's like, come on now. Are you not paying attention?
At some point.
You're not paying attention at all to call the guy Mo Wagner.
Also, Mo Wagner just sounds like such a loser. It just like sounds such a loser name.
Mo Wagner. It's so true.
Where's Mo Wagner? That sounds good.
Franz Wagner.
Franz Wagner. My breakout candidate is Franz Wagner. I'm surprised he didn't get any votes.
For breakout?
Yeah. I feel like
he got to break out of his shooting slump. Break out of his 2-year-long shooting slump.
He does. He got to do
it.
He
needs to break out of. Most underrated player acquisition. Alex Caruso, number 1. KCP, number 2. Isaiah Hartenstein, number 3. Tied with Tyus Jones. Klay Thompson, 5. Chris Paul, 6. Others receiving votes. Kyle Anderson. It's a good one. Dante DiVincenzo. Josh Giddey got a vote. Caleb Martin. And Gary Trent Jr. So the Thunder got the number 1 guy on this list. I don't... Do you think it's underrated? I feel like it's very properly rated. I think people are very excited about Caruso.
Yeah, names I think count as underrated. I think Kyle Anderson. I think Dante DiVincenzo, just because he wasn't like the big name coming over in that trade.
Yeah.
I guess Caleb Martin.
You could do Caleb Martin. You could do Gary Trent. Those are fine. But the fact that somebody voted for Klay Thompson on this one, it's like, give me a break. Like, that's weird. That's weird. He belongs in the biggest impact one. If you think that it's that good, I mean, whatever. But yeah, underrated. I mean, Caruso's. I mean, we've only seen him play with this team one time, and I think the hype is real with Caruso. He was ridiculous, and just like the few minutes that he played with the team, like he just makes an impact on both ends just immediately. I mean, it's just it is wild to actually see it happening out on the court. Him and Hartenstein. Let's see which team. This is total cop out by every GM. Which team would be the most improved in 24-25? Memphis Grizzlies. Come on, that shouldn't count, right?
No, that's absolutely no. That's correct.
Yeah,
it's by default, but it is true.
Yeah, it's just I hate the answer because it's whatever. I don't know. It's like when the Thunder had their season, the Plagues of Egypt season. It's saying like Thunder coming back, most improved team. I just don't like that.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not really improved. They're just healthier. They're not really improved. They just have better health.
Whoever picked Detroit, it's kind of the same thing because they won 14 games, but that takes some guts picking Detroit, saying they'll be most improved.
Yeah. San Antonio, I think, is a fine answer.
Yeah,
Philadelphia is a fine answer. Orlando, fine answer. Phoenix Suns received a vote. Fine answer. But don't give me the Grizzlies. That's lame. It's like saying like whenever David Robinson got hurt for the Spurs back in the day, and then they ended up getting Tim Duncan. It's like, most improved team. They're just healthier.
Would have been correct.
But they're just healthier. Most surprising offseason move: Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks, number 1. Paul George to the Sixers, number 2.
Yeah.
DeMar to the Kings, number 3. Mikhail Zachary Ricochet received a vote for being the number 1 pick. Shout out to Ricochet, who had a great game tonight for the Hawks.
He was balling. He
really was.
Oh wait, where is he? I was trying to look up his stats. Oh, he was 18 points on 7 of 9 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3.
He was hooping.
That's all you need.
He had a really sick
every night.
He had a sick like driving under the legs pass as well. I was just like, what is happening? What's going on? Are the Hawks like just a fun team? What's happening here?
Well, they were your pick for a surprise team, and
I know I'm feeling
you
good about it.
You just feel good.
I'm feeling great about it right now.
I'm feeling the opposite of good because the Raptors media day was all just like, basically it was we're gonna suck. We know we're gonna suck.
The Jakob
we're ready to suck.
So funny. Oh, Jakob was so funny. And RJ Barrett's hurt. Quickly's hurt. You know, they're preparing the tank.
Good luck. It's going to be hard this year.
It will be. It'll be tough.
Maybe Charlotte was the pick.
If they're healthy, most improved.
Yeah. Did you see Tijon Saloon?
Yeah,
tonight?
he put up some. Yeah, he put up some
15 and 8,
stats.
4 7 from 3.
Yeah. Hey,
it's
pretty nice. Let's see. Rookies and international questions. Who will win Rookie of the Year? Reed Shepherd got 50% of the votes. Wow. That's crazy. Zach Edey got 30%. Steph Castle, 13%. Others receiving votes: Ron Holland and Alex Sarr. This has got to be like one of the first years that the number one pick got 0 votes, right?
Yeah, maybe it was a mistake. I'm actually, the most surprising thing about this answer is that last year Wemby only got 50% of the vote. Because because train was big. Yeah,
but it was an unusual year because of Chet coming in as the number 2 overall pick.
Scoot too. I bet Scoot got votes.
There's probably a Scoot vote here or there. Yeah, and I don't know, people doubt the hype sometimes. Which rookie will be the best in 5 years? Reed Shepherd got 43% of the votes. Steph Castle, 17%. Risa Shea on this list, 13%. Bub Carrington and Alex Sarr, Wizard teammates, 7%. Then others receiving votes: Matas Buzelis, Donovan Clingan, Ron Holland, and Dalton Connect.
They're sleeping. They're sleeping on Topic. Sleep at your own risk.
Sleeping on AJ, honestly.
Yeah.
AJ should be on this list. Which rookie was the biggest steal? Where he was selected in the draft? Number 1, Bub Carrington at 14. Devin Carter at 13. I forget about that guy because he had surgery. Johnny Furphy.
Yeah, that's weird.
Got some votes at 35. Dalton Connect at 17. Terrence Shannon at 27. Nikola Topic. Shout out to Air Bud at 12. I guess they all got the same amount of votes. All got 10%. Matas Buzelis at 11. And Donovan Clingan. A lot of guys got votes here. Cam Christie, Isaiah Collier, Zach Edey, Kyle Filipowski, Jared McCain, Baylor Shireman got a vote. Reed Shepherd got a vote at 3. And then Cody Williams at 10. Why don't we just vote for the entire class for the biggest steal? It's funny. Oh, that's great. It's like almost the entire first round was a steal. Unbelievable. What a draft. Okay. Who's the best international player in the NBA? Nikola Jokic, 87%. Is he 77% better than Luka, do you think? Is that how this works?
No, it's not.
And then Victor Wembanyama, is he, 3% of the votes? Doesn't seem like they believe in Victor Wembanyama all that much to me. Who's the best international player not in the NBA? One of the most boring questions you can ask. Okay, next.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's not really anybody. Last year, people were still voting for Nikola Mirotic.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
He must be balling.
Vezenkov, who was not great for the Kings and is back out of the league, is back on the GM survey. Shout out to Sasha Vezenkov. Okay, defense. Who's the best defensive player in the NBA? Victor Wembanyama, the best defensive player in the NBA today. The best one.
Yeah, Chet didn't even get a vote.
Didn't even get one vote. That is kind of wild.
One vote.
That is pretty wild to
Alex
me.
Caruso got a vote. Marcus Smart got a vote.
I know. Herb Jones got a vote. Yeah, that's wild. Victor Wembanyama, number 1. Who's the best perimeter defender? Number 1, Drew Holiday with 43% of the votes. Caruso, second with 20%. Herb Jones, 17%. Lou Dort, 7%. And then OG Anunoby, Jaden McDaniels, Marcus Smart, Derek White. What do you think about that ranking? Like if we were to say like, hey, here's the ranking of best perimeter defenders in the NBA. Drew Holiday, Caruso, Herb Jones, Lou Dort, OG, McDaniels, Smart, Derek White. Like that seems pretty good, honestly.
Yeah. And obviously this is a windy argument, but I think it's closer between like Drew, Caruso, and Herb Jones.
Yeah.
I don't think Drew is like far and away obviously the best perimeter defender.
Yeah. I think that's right.
He's obviously very good, right. But I think those three guys are a little bit closer to each other.
Yeah. Best interior defender, Wembanyama with 43%, Rudy Gobert 37%, AD 10%, Bam 7%. No love for Chet here either, which is kind of wild. Yeah, Giannis and Jaren Jackson also receive votes. Yeah, that's
this is making me think that people are sleeping on Chet because I mean J-Dub got most improved or whatever that was called, breakout.
Yeah,
and Chet
didn't even get a. Did Chet even get a breakout vote?
No, he didn't. He didn't get a vote.
Yeah,
he's Control F. Control F.
Can he not break? I mean, goodness, he's just trying to break out. Let the man break out. Okay.
Some Rockets fan, I don't know why they were messaging me. They sent me a reply today saying that Chet was overrated, which I think based on this, it's very clear that he is underrated.
Yeah, very underrated.
It's very clear to me. And I think it's partly because Shea is so good. It's partly because J-Dub is just more well-known, I guess.
Is he, though?
No. I don't know.
How is he more well-known? Chet's been like in the ethos of NBA basketball for like a decade.
It's just strange. I'm like so high on Chet. Like I think it's reasonable. It might not happen, but I think it's reasonable that by the end of the year, he is being talked about as like a top 15 player, and it's just kind of accepted. I think that could happen.
Oh, no question.
And that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it is weird that he's just not brought up on this. Even most versatile defender, Giannis, OG, Wemby, Bam, Drew Holiday, Jonathan Isaac, Herb Jones, Jaden McDaniels, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and J-Dub all got votes. But no Chet.
It's funny.
Someone should send this to Chet.
I'll do it. I'm going to print it out
and just be like,
mail it to him.
Hey, listen, Chet, I just want you to read through this. Just let us know what you think. Little motivation. The best defensive team, Boston Celtics with 57%, Timberwolves 23%, and the Thunder at 20%. Man, the GMs are in for a big surprise because they voted this one wrong.
Yeah, it's idiots. I mean, I already locked it in. It's just a question of whether they're going to be the number one offense as well.
Yeah, Taylor thinks they're going to be the best defense of the last 20 years. So,
yeah, with his proprietary ranking system, he will not reveal it.
That's why I rated it.
He'll let us know.
That's why I rated it watermelon, just because I can't even determine that. But I honestly don't think it's that crazy because when you look at, I think a lot of people think 04 Pistons are probably like one of the best defensive teams ever. And you just look at the personnel that they had, yes, but like you look at the Thunder's personnel, is it that crazy to think that they could be as good as that Detroit Pistons team? Like, I just don't.
Well, and I think
it's crazy.
I think a reasonable way to measure it is looking at defensive rating and seeing what the gap is between the number one team and the number two team. Like, for instance, last year, the Timberwolves were 108.9. Number two, Orlando, 111.5. Like, that's a pretty big gap between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you need to have that type of a gap. So he said, well, it was 04, right? I just want to see what it was back then.
Yeah, 04.
With Detroit. It'll be some stupid number. It'll probably be like 89 for the defensive rating.
I think it definitely is going to be under 100, probably like 96 or something.
Folks, they weren't even the number one defense. Okay, that was the San Antonio Spurs
In 04?
Yeah.
03, 04?
03, 04.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
I guess it means that numbers don't matter.
No, it means that storytelling matters. And if you just beat it into people's heads, that's why people talk about the 2000 Ravens. Like, I always will think of the 2000 Ravens as like one of the best defenses.
Yeah.
And I was alive then, and I watched it. The same thing with the Pistons. I was alive then, I watched it. And I did think they were really good at the time, but they got such a great narrative built around them that now it's like unassailable. Like you can't break that down.
Yeah.
It's been built over years and years.
It's true.
That you can't even make an argument anymore. How do you even do it?
Yeah. It's true. 04 Pistons, best defense ever. No one's dethroning them. It'll never happen. Best coach in the NBA, best head coach, Eric Spoelstra at number 1 with 69% of the vote. Nice. Mark Daignault, number 2 at 17%. Steve Kerr, number 3. Mike Budenholzer, who just got back. Welcome back, Mike. Best coach in the NBA. And Chris Finch is on the list as well. So shout out to Mark for, I mean, it is wild. His story is still so crazy to me. And for him to be toward the top of a best head coach in the NBA is pretty wild. So shout out. Which head coach would be the best manager, motivator of people? Eric Spoelstra, number 1. Steve Kerr, number 2. Joe Mazzulla, number 3. Greg Pop. This is such a weird question, by the way. Isn't it the same thing?
No, these are guys who could be terrible at actual basketball, but they could just be like really good people persons.
Yeah, but I just feel like they could be great people person humans. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think these go hand in hand. Like you can't be a good NBA head coach in today's league and not be that as well.
Okay, I found the best defense of all time.
Okay.
We're gonna make a new narrative for the 2015-16 Spurs. Remember that team?
Yeah, they won
in the playoffs.
Well, they won 67 games.
Yeah. Their defensive rating was 99. Number 2 was Atlanta at 102.1.
Wow,
3
that's a
points
huge
for
difference.
100 possessions between 1 and 2.
It's a huge.
I've been trying to find one that's bigger than that. That's the biggest I've found so far. Not even the 2017 Warriors. They were actually tied with the Spurs that year.
And that was Tim Duncan, Kawhi.
Yeah.
Yeah. LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which head coach runs the best offense? Rick Carlisle, number 1. Joe Mazzulla, 2. Finch, Steve Kerr. Mark got votes for this one as well. Do we care about the coaches? I don't really care that much. Which team is the most fun to watch? Number 1, Indiana, which I agree wholeheartedly. Okay. That is true. Thunder, number 2. Denver, number 3. Golden State, number 4. Boston, number 5. Best home court advantage? Denver Nuggets, number 1. Altitude. The Thunder got number 2 on best home court advantage.
I know.
Shout out.
I'll be honest. I really don't. I mean, I understand the Nuggets one. There's actually a reason for that.
Yeah, it's like a geographical reason for it.
Every other team. Well, actually, that's not true. There are certain teams where I think their fans are not great. They don't have, like Miami, notoriously doesn't have a home court advantage. Houston, I feel like notoriously not a great home court advantage. Mm-hmm. Every other one pretty good, and I would say if I were to pick one that stands above, I would say the Kings, and maybe the Knicks. Mm-hmm. I mean the Jazz are certainly have a reputation. Got to give them credit for something.
I think the playoffs got the Thunder back on this list. I'll say that.
You think got it back?
Playoffs,
people saw it.
It was legitimately insane. It was incredible. The playoffs. It was incredible. So, shout out. Thunder fans. Which team will have the league's most efficient offense? Boston, number 1 at 53%. Indiana, number 2 at 20%. Thunder, number 3, with the Mavs right behind the Thunder. Which team's level of success? This is probably an interesting one, but they just like named all the teams, I guess. Which team's level of success is the toughest to predict this season? Los
really,
Angeles,
the Lakers? Is it really that hard to predict?
No, I don't think so. I think the teams that are tied for second are those are good answers. Rockets and Pelicans. Those are great answers.
Those are great choices. Mavs, like what? What's going to happen?
I don't know. 76ers.
Maybe if people are talking about the playoffs specifically, the Sixers are a good one.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Lakers is a funny answer. Which team has the most promising young core? Thunder, 60% of the vote. With Orlando, Rockets, Spurs. It's just funny that like the Spurs have like the guy that everybody would want, and yet like the Thunder are getting 53% more votes. Even
if you're going with let's say you really like the Thunder score, okay, great, because it's like really deep, it's really strong at the top, it's all the things you would want.
Mm-hmm.
After that, why aren't the Spurs higher? If 77% of you are taking Wemby as a first pick in your fantasy draft,
then why would you pick Orlando?
Yeah, why would you pick Orlando?
That's weird.
I mean, most people would take Wemby plus random generated guy versus Paulo and Franz.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this list, though, is that one GM voted Detroit. So
who was that? They should be fired. Like, honestly, if you were an owner and you found out that your GM voted for Detroit, wouldn't you have to fire them?
You have no choice but to fire them. No choice.
Unless it's a very funny GM.
Release the names, Schumann. Release the names.
What if it was Troy, like, convincing the Wizards, hey, will you please vote for Detroit for this? Because I drafted all those guys. Will you please do that?
It was one of his conditions with taking the job.
Yeah. Then I can show it to people.
Listen,
like, see?
I did this. Do you see this? This is what I did. Most athletic player, Anthony Edwards, with Giannis, Amen Thompson, John Morant. John Morant, did you see him jumping to block the shot, and then he had to duck his head to not slam it on the backboard?
Yeah.
That was insane. Asar also got a vote. Best pure shooter, Steph Curry. Which player is the fastest with the ball? De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, we've heard this story. Which player is the best at moving without the ball? Steph Curry. Yes, of course. Which player is the best passer? Nikola Jokic. Best leader? I guess GMs aren't enamored with Shea's leadership because he's not on this list at all. Steph Curry, Jalen Brunson, LeBron, Drew, Jokic, and Chris Paul are on this list. Most versatile, Giannis, number 1. You think Giannis is the most versatile player?
Who would you pick?
I don't know.
I don't
know.
I get the Giannis thing because how many primary initiators can also be like a rim protector?
Yeah, I guess.
Like him and Wemby eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess LeBron. Chet, maybe. Didn't get a vote.
Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is like a great guard that blocks shots. So
he gets a lot of blocks, yeah.
Best basketball IQ, Nikola Jokic, LeBron. Okay, I'm kind of done. Are you done?
I'm done.
I think we're good.
Actually, the very last question.
You want me to go back?
Yeah.
Okay.
What rule needs to change? The number 1 was roster construction. But I just thought the description was interesting. Apron rules, trade math too restrictive. Okay, we get that. Or should be indexed to team's market. What? Who has ever talked about that? Where did that come from?
It's oddly specific.
Who wrote that?
I don't know.
Index to teams market. The implication there is that like teams like the Knicks should get more leeway.
Mm-hmm. This is clearly LA teams.
They're trying to move the Overton window, and they're trying to get this out into the public and make it become a normal idea.
Warriors for sure would vote this. Miami would vote this.
Yeah, there's not enough though. There's like 8 maybe.
Yeah, it is a Phoenix. Phoenix would probably vote this.
It says down here I can email John Schumann. I'm going to email him.
It is just too specific.
It's very specific.
It is oddly specific.
I wonder if what it is though, if he just wrote roster construction, and then they could write in, like it was a film, like a free text, and they could say, "What about roster construction?" They didn't like, and so maybe it came from the teams, which would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Come from a couple of losers.
Losers.
All right. I've gone through every year since 03-04, and it's settled. The 2016 Spurs were the best defense. So let your friends know.
There you go.
And the Thunder beat them.
They did. God, what a great series that was. Ennis Cantor, Steven Adams duo beat them.
Yeah, that's true.
It was wild. Hey, I want to. So, we talked about like Presti's press conference where he's not really saying much. Thunder players aren't saying much. Somebody who's saying a lot over the last like few days or a couple weeks. The Brooklyn Nets and Ben Simmons.
Yeah,
tell me
play tonight.
Why are they doing that to him? Because he played 13 minutes tonight and had 2 points, three assists, and 2 rebounds. Was 1 of 5 from the field. Why are they saying that like superstar Ben Simmons is back? Why would they do that? Like that is really, really not smart to do.
Why is it
every
not smart?
capacity? To say that superstar Ben Simmons is back, then he's putting up stat lines like that.
To lose. You either give him a confidence boost and he somehow gets back enough trade value where you could get rid of him as an expiring because some team is like, ooh, maybe, or it doesn't matter and he's gonna suck and he's gonna be on the bench all season. They could say anything right now.
I just think like that is a bad strategy.
I just don't think there's no good strategies with Ben Simmons. Like he's an expiring $40 million contract, but people are going to ask you about him.
I would just do what the Bulls are doing with Lonzo. Just be like, we're gonna try to get him on the court.
Lonzo's not.
Hopefully, it goes well.
I mean, Ben Simmons was all defense. Ben Simmons was all-star. Like
4 years ago.
I know, but like Lonzo, he was a role player. Like no one cares.
People do care. People do care about Lonzo, but I'm just saying, like the strategy is that I just would not say that. Like, I mean, the head coach is going out there saying that like the superstar Ben Simmons is back. Like, why? That to me is idiotic.
I mean, what if they truly hate him? How would you answer if you truly hated Ben Simmons? You'd probably answer like that.
If you hated him, so you think this is like a reverse psychology thing?
Well, I'm just saying, if you did hate Ben Simmons and you were the coach, and like the franchise just hates him, and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to get rid of this guy," wouldn't you say stuff like that just to like troll him and be a dick?
I don't know.
3 times All-Star Ben Simmons, he's gonna be. You guys got to see this guy, and then he goes out and scores 2 points. Like that's funny.
You think it's like a sarcastic play? Oh, you can't wait to see this guy.
Yeah.
Get a load of this character over here.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me, though. We do have a super chat from Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod, didn't know A-Rod was a listener. Shout out.
Let's tell you, that's my favorite player growing up.
I know. He asked, we are assuming that Mitchell and Jones spend time with the G League, but what's the chance that either one gets the Case and Wallace treatment, where they're too good to send to the G League, too good to G.
Oh, I would say after one preseason game, I would guess it's not going to be Dylan Jones. And if it was Dylan Jones, it'd simply be because of position.
Yeah.
They both had good games, but you could see when they were playing with the best players, like AJ Mitchell just fit in. He fit in immediately. In the same way that like Wiggins came in and was just it was seamless. Like he just naturally fit. He was doing good things, and he was doing good things in the context of what his role is likely going to be. I feel like Dylan Jones, like he's weird. I don't know what to think about Dylan Jones, because like his game is still like very like he was an alpha where he came from, and a lot of the plays he was making or attempting to make were alpha plays. So I don't know exactly how that's going to shake out in terms of him finding a role on this Thunder team. So I could see them trying to kind of mold him in the G League into whatever idea they have for him. Whereas AJ, especially if there's like some injury in the backcourt, easily see him coming in and playing, 8 minutes, here and there.
Yeah, and he can handle the ball, he can pass it, he can shoot it. There's not a lot of guys that can really handle the basketball like AJ does. But the hold up in all of this is that one, AJ's on a 2-way contract. And then Dylan is on a standard deal. And so my assumption is that Dylan will just play more for the Thunder than AJ will this year. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, odds are they're both going to play. And also, Case and Wallace was a top 10 pick in the draft,
Yeah.
And so neither one of these guys were that. But I do really like both of them. I can see the path for both of them to work. And it's just really fun to see young guys like this flourish early on. So we'll see how they do. I mean, the Thunder play a back-to-back in the preseason. And a home road back-to-back at that. And that they're not like going far, but they're going from OKC Wednesday night and then to Tulsa on Thursday. So that's just kind of funny. But it's going to be interesting to watch these guys because we're going to get to see a lot of them, over these next 2 games, I would guess, which is really fun. Like there's not too many lineups that they could throw out there that I would just be completely uninterested in, So I feel like there's always somebody that I'm interested in.
Yeah, and I think their opponent, like getting to play Houston tomorrow night, assuming Houston plays their guys, like that's a good test. Like the problem with that Spurs game is just no other team's defense is more built around one player. And so like, OKC got to the rim a lot in that game. Cool. It doesn't really matter because that Spurs team is going to be terrible defensively, especially around the rim if Wemby's not there. Totally. So it was great that they were beating a lot of those guys off the dribble. But on the other hand, that's going to be a lot of the Spurs strategy is like funneling guys towards Wemby. Mm-hmm. So I'm much more interested to see how they play against Houston, who seems to be taking the preseason relatively seriously.
What about the New Zealand Breakers?
Not as into that.
Pretty pumped, pretty jacked.
Do they have anyone?
I don't know.
But okay.
I was watching them the other night. There wasn't anybody that popped off the screen to me.
Okay.
Anyways. Yeah. Okay. Preseason basketball's here. It's fun to see these guys playing, and I can't wait to see more of it. We will have another episode for you guys on Friday with the Fry Pod guys. Please. What is it?
Well, just real quick, just a few things on the preseason game.
Give me your thoughts.
Well, it's just, over these last few years, we've seen a bunch of guys develop, whether Case and Wiggins, Isaiah Joe. But with all of those guys, it took a little while for you to like fully believe and buy in, because even if they were amazing from the jump, which a lot of those guys were, you still like didn't really know that much about them. And so you're still waiting to see like, okay, is this real? Is this are they really going to do this for an entire season?
Yeah.
You know, like when they got Isaiah Joe, we didn't even really know what he was capable of until that Dallas game. And it's like, oh wow, okay. I knew you were a good shooter. I didn't realize you could do this. And then you like your confidence slowly starts building. And I just thought the cool thing about that preseason game was how my thoughts are already like fully developed on Caruso and Hartenstein, because I already know them. I know that what I'm seeing is real. And so when you see like,
I thought you were about to talk about Dylan Jones and AJ Mitchell again. So
no, when with those guys on the court, it's just like, oh my God, these are two real NBA players that we're dropping. Even though I know that's what we've been saying this whole summer, but actually seeing it in a basketball game, it's like, I have no concerns. I have zero hangups with this. This is amazing. I don't even have to like wait and see. Like these guys are these guys. They're the guys they've been. So like this, it should work. There's no obvious reason why they shouldn't work.
Yeah.
And it's just very exciting.
They're
they're not young guys that you kind of have to wait and see and like gradually buy into. Like these are real dudes.
Yeah, they're established veterans that have played like this for multiple teams.
Yeah.
And it's
very cool.
Yeah. It's why you can believe in the improvement for them, and why you can believe that they're going to have an incredible season, is that one, we know what the rest of the roster is, and then these guys are just additive to it. You know, they're not guys that are going to take things off the table. Like you think about oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, they're not going to take things off the table, but they're also not being asked to do anything they haven't done before, really. Like in terms of their role. You know, obviously they're letting Hartenstein shoot threes, great, but like they're playing roles that they have played, and that's why that whoever, I don't know who it was the NBA TV guy at like halftime. He just kept bringing up that Isaiah Hartenstein is making $30 million now. It's like, bro, it doesn't matter. It's not like they're asking him to be like the number 2 on this team because he's making $30 million. Like he's still being asked to be the exact same guy, just on a different team. But it's really the same context for both of those guys, and that's why it's like, what questions are there really? It's more just like, hey, let's see how Chet and Hartenstein play together. Let's see how like Caruso and Dort play together. You know, but these are all very fun questions. None of these questions, even if they have bad outcomes, it doesn't really matter because you can just switch up the lineups.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it is. It is great. I can't wait to see them play Denver. You know, just thinking about like just watching them last night. It just was like, man, I can't wait to see them play a real team, and then knowing that they get to play Denver the first night of the season.
Yeah,
that's just going to be really fun. That's going to be a really fun night.
And the other thing we should bring up, in case anyone's not on Twitter but is on Reddit, is, there was a video of Chet shooting before the game.
Oh no, we're getting into this. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to mention it because the J-Dub thing is a little late breaking. There's a video of Chet, and it looked a little goofy. You know, he was like really shooting with his main hand, and his guide hand was like doing something else, and it blew up. I mean, you look at the people who are quote retweeting that. A lot of NBA minds on Twitter were quote retweeting that, and then it went on to Reddit. And it had like hundreds of comments, everyone freaking out. And then
it was NBA smart guy fever is what it was.
It was. And then it turned out J-Dub tweeted this afternoon, oh, that's just a shooting drill he's going to be doing before games, whatever. So like, we'll see, because we didn't really get to see what his shot looked like. He did take a 3 on the very first play of that game, but it was like already called off.
Yeah.
So I am interested to see if he has made any tweaks, because a listener reminded me that he talked about his shot on Podcast P. So I went back and listened to that. And, you know, he said what, you know, we saw, which is basically like, I was shooting laser beams at the rim in the second half of the season, and I've got to figure out how I can basically maintain a consistent arc over 82 games. And that's when Paul George was trying to destroy his shoulders, telling him to shoot with really heavy balls. But it's just he probably has made some adjustments to his shot because he knew that going into the offseason. Like,
Yeah.
And some of that is hitting the rookie wall, and he'll just get better with time. But I am still interested to see if we notice anything different, getting some side by sides of his shot last year and this year when he's actually in game.
Yeah. I think he's probably going to shoot it pretty similar to last year is what I would guess.
I think we want him to we want him to shoot more, Andrew. We want him to shoot more. I think it'll look about the same. And I think a lot of it is, I think that he was exhausted by the end of the season. I just think that he's got to learn how to pace himself in 82 games. Last thing, shout out to any of our listeners in Florida, in particular, our good friend Larry, who flew out for a Down to Dunk night a few years ago. They are about to get hit by a hurricane. Tomorrow, I think. So we're just thinking about all y'all, and we hope you guys stay safe.
Yeah.
Whether you're leaving or staying, whatever you're doing, we're thinking about you.
Yep.
And we're worried.
Yep. Yeah. If you're in Larry's in Sarasota, I'm sure that there's more people in that area that listen. And my buddy Brighton is in Orlando. So, we're praying for you guys. And it is scary. Like, it's legitimately one of like the scariest things that I've seen, like on the news, like monitoring, where it's just like there's no one has any control over what is about to happen here. It is terrifying. I saw a clip of a like longtime meteorologist and
the guy who was like choking up.
Yeah, the guy was like crying, like talking about
that was scary.
Oh, that was awful. That was it's all really scary to look at, but that was like one that like really gripped, like I had like a grip on me for a little while because
if you could imagine like Damon Lane or Mike Morgan or like Gary England back in the day, like breaking down, that would be terrifying.
It would be like a tornado forming, and they're like crying, telling people like brace yourselves, like this is going to be horrible. Like that's the equivalent.
That was really scary.
Yeah.
So hopefully it who knows? I mean, hopefully it weakens, but I just I'm just thinking about all our folks out in Florida.
Yeah, that's a good call. If you haven't gotten your Down to Dunk night tickets, go get those. You can go to our Twitter profile at Down to Dunk. It is pinned to the top of our Twitter profile on Friday, November 8th. They play the Rockets. Should be a very fun game. It's on a Friday night. We will have a post-game fry pod after the half-court shots. So we'll do the fry pod live for everybody. It'll be really fun. Show up. There'll be Down to Dunk stickers. We'll have t-shirts, and we'll have a great time with all the dunkers. There are very limited spots, if they're even there, honestly. It's very, very limited spots for this. So be sure to get your tickets today. Would love to see you there. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys again on Friday.